to first and foremost start, proceed. One of the sunnah of Allah in the creation, that everything that Allah ever created, Allah creates the best out of it. Everything that you can think of, everything that your mind can think of that Allah created, Allah created angels. Out of the angels, Allah created some of them are better than the others. Then out of all of them, Allah chose Jibreel, the best of all angels. Allah created among stones. Allah chose some stones are better than the other stones. One of the best stones, Hajar al-Aswad. One of the best stones is Kaaba. Allah created 12 months in a year. Then He chose 4 out of the 12 to be the sacred months. Allah created 7 days in a week. Then He chose one day called Yawm al-Jum'ah, the best of the day of the week. Allah created every night throughout the year. Then He chose one night called Laylatul Qadri Khayrun min Alf Shahr. Allah created among humans, He chose people called prophets. Out of the prophet, He chose messengers. Out of the messengers, He chose Ulul Azm. Out of the Ulul Azm, He chose Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
Allah has never created any being that He loved the most like Habibul Mustafa Muhammad. The most beloved creation to Allah is Rasulullah. This Rasulullah, he was born by a father known as Abdullah, with a mother known Amina bint Wahab. These two people are also chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Abdullah was one of the 10 sons of Abdul Muttalib. Out of the 10 sons, Abdul Muttalib loves Abdullah the most. Why? Because Abdullah was the most pious of all the children. Amina bint Wahab, she too was one of the greatest women in terms of piety, in terms of morality. She was one of the peak of the women. These two individuals were married to each other. From these two individuals, Allah blessed the Ummah with a son called Muhammad ibn Abdullah.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
Which was Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Al-Rasul was born in one of the best cities in the world. Allah created all cities, but the best of the cities in the world is known as Mecca. And that is the city which Rasulullah was born in. And not only he was born in the best city, he was born also on the chosen days of the days, which is on Friday. Rasulullah was born on Friday. He was born on that day when his mother Amina said, after my son was born, I saw the nur that comes from his face, which shines all the way to the heavens. Now, in case you want to know the nur that Amina is talking about, read Hadith al-Kisa. And Zahra will tell you. Zahra tells you that in the Hadith al-Kisa, it's فلما غطيته, when I covered him, صرت أنظر إليه فإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة التمام. Zahra said, I covered with the face of Rasulullah with a blanket. Now think about it, brothers, mu'mineen and mu'minat. If you have this cap and you covered with blanket, can you see the cap after you covered with blanket? I cannot see it. I'm sure you cannot see it too. But the nur of Rasulullah, Zahra said, after I covered him, I still can see the nur of the face of Rasulullah shining as the moon when it reached to the fullest time of the month. That is Zahra alayhi salam telling us about the face of her father. Amina alayhi salam, she said, right after I gave birth to Muhammad, I heard a call came saying, Sammihi Muhammad. Name him Muhammad. Amina alayhi salam, she gave birth to Rasulullah when the father of Rasulullah was not living. Rasulullah was an orphan. Now there are two narrations from the history. Some say no, Rasulullah was born, few months later his father passed away. Majority of the historians believe that no, the father died before Rasulullah was even born. And the reason of death, Rasulullah's father was traveling from Mecca to Sham, which was the business of Abdul Muttalib. Abdul Muttalib at some point, he left the business in the hand of Abdullah. Then he was the one doing the trade between Mecca and Syria. He took the goods to Syria and to buy some goods coming back to Mecca. On his way, he fell sick and he died on the way before Rasulullah was even born. And this is the truth because Quran confirms that. The Holy Quran tells you in Surah Al-Duha, أَلَمْ يَجِدْكَ يَتِيمًا فَأَوَى. Didn't we find you yatim? Yatim is what? Somebody who lost his father. Somebody whose father died before he reached the age of bulugh. أَلَمْ يَجِدْكَ يَتِيمًا. So didn't we find you an orphan? Right? So Rasulullah was yatim when his father, when he was born, his father was no longer alive. So the mother, she decided to take care of him. But Amina, alayhi salam, she was not in the situation that she can take care of him. Because after she gave birth to Rasulullah, she was not feeling well. So she decided to do what most of the Arabs do. What was the culture back in those days? The culture back in those days, when you have a baby, they intend to give the baby to people who live in the village to take the baby and take care of the baby for a certain time and then bring the baby back. Why? Number one, because in those villages, children learn more proper Arabic than in the city. Number two, they also get to learn the culture of Arabs more in the village than in the cities. So for that matter, many of the parents, as a culture back in those days, to give their children to those people, to take care of them and then bring them back afterwards. And that year, which our Prophet was born, is called Amul Fil, the year of elephant. But you know, Arabs never had a calendar. Before Islam and after Islam, Arabs were not like Christians. Arabs, for many years, they never had a calendar. So how do they calculate things? They used to make years based on the event that happened in the year. This was before Islam and after Islam. That's why they call the year the Prophet was born Amul Fil. Amul Fil, the year of elephant, meaning the year Abraha came to destroy Kaaba. Arab never had a calendar. Now, when did the calendar of Islam started? It started after Rasulullah. Way after Rasulullah, the Muslims sat together and they started to think we need to have our calendar. It has been so many years. Whenever something happens, we don't have a set calendar. Even at the time of Rasulullah, there was no calendar. They always remember incident by what? By the year the incident happened. That's why even the year Abu Talib and Khadija died, they call it what? Amul Huzn. The year of grief. Because even at that time, there is no calendar. Now, when the Muslims sat down to discuss what to take as the calendar, some of them decide, let's take the birth of the Prophet. Some of them say, no, if we take the birth of the Prophet, it's like we learning from the Christians. Because Christians, they started their calendar by the birth of Jesus. Some of them decided, let's start that Islamic calendar with what? With the death of the Prophet. They said, no, we can start the calendar with something that is sad, something that is sorrow. So they were back and forth, until Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
came in the picture. And he said to them, the best time to start your calendar is with the hijrah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. So today, the calendar that Muslims are using, the one who suggested this was Imam Ali al-Amir al-Mu'mineen. So the Prophet was born in the year called Amul Fil. That year, there were so many miracles took place along with the birth of the Prophet. Number one, it is mentioned that Al-Majus, who were worshippers of fire, they have been setting their fire for years and it never set off until the year the Prophet was born. For no reason, no rain, no water, for one time they saw a miracle, and the miracle was what? The fire on its own set off for no reason. And they didn't know what happened until later on they recognized the reason is the birth of Habib al-Mustafa Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
That is one of the miracle on the day Rasulullah was born. Now, number two, you know, before the birth of the Prophet, the shayateen could enter heavens to hear what is going on in the heavens. Until Isa alayhi salam was born, Allah blocked them from 1, 2, 3, 4. They can enter. From 5, 6, 7, 8, they cannot enter. That was blocked from them. So what happened on the day the Prophet was born? All of the doors and entering heaven was blocked. And it's mentioned in the Quran. That the day Shaitan told his servants, his soldiers, go to the heavens, see if you can get some information. They went to the heavens. They tried to access every door necessary, possible. They couldn't. They came back and they told Shaitan. And Quran quote, إِنَّا لَمَسْنَا السَّمَاءَ فَوَجَدْنَاهَا مُلِئَتْ حَرَسًا شَدِيدًا وَشُهُبًا. He said, we tried to enter heavens. And we saw what today you can call it tough security. We saw that the heavens is all covered with top securities. And not only that, there are shootings of stars for us as we try to enter the heavens. Shaitan says, let me go and try myself. Iblis came himself to try. He couldn't enter the heavens. While he was circling around Mecca, he saw Jibreel in a house. And the historians say he came to Jibreel. Ya Jibreel, is Allah about to end this world? Say, la, ya Shaitan. I say, Ya Jibreel, is Allah is about to destroy the universe? Say, la, ya Shaitan. Is Allah angry at people or something? I said, no. He said, then what is happening? He said, Al-Yawm, today is the day of the birth of Habibullah al-Mustafa Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Then Shaitan said, Ya Jibreel, can I enter to see him? Jibreel said, no, you can't. Can I influence him? I said, absolutely not. Can I influence this ummah? He said, some of them, yes, but not him. Then Jibreel disappeared in front of Shaitan. Shaitan recognized today is a different day because the Muhammad was born. Rasulullah, as he was born, that year, women came from village to take children. When they came, everybody who asked, who is this son? They says Muhammad. Where is his father? His father is no more. And they say, I'm sorry, we can't take him. Nobody is willing to take Prophet Muhammad. Halima al-Sa'diyya came. She said, who is this young man, this baby? They say, it's called Muhammad. Where is his father? His father is no more. He said, I'm sorry, I can't take him. Nobody is willing to take the Prophet. Finally, Halima, she went around Mecca. She didn't find a baby to take. She killed herself. Okay, let me take this child anyway because I don't want to go back home empty-handed. She took Prophet Muhammad as a last option. But then she recognized that was the best option. She thought it was the last option, but she recognized it was the best option. How was it? It is mentioned that when they were coming, Halima al-Sa'diyya, her camel she was riding was the weakest and the oldest camel. So her camel was the last of the crowd, of the caravan. Good. But when they were going back, that weak and old camel became the first camel ahead of all of them. Why? Because it's carrying Habibul Mustafa Muhammad. Not only that, Halima al-Sa'diyya said, when I took Muhammad to my house, I saw blessings that I can not longer count. Number one, she said, the milk of my animals tripled in my family. The number of milk I used to get on daily basis because of Muhammad, it increased more than I can ever imagine. Not only that, she said, the blessing that I got for having Muhammad was more than I can count. To the point where the time came to return Muhammad, she didn't want to return Muhammad. Because the blessings that she was getting by having Prophet Muhammad with her. Finally, she decided to bring Prophet Muhammad back. And historically, Prophet Muhammad has 4 women in his life who has everything to do with him. Number 1 is Mother Amina bint Wahab. The second woman was Halima al-Sa'diyya. The third woman is also one of the slaves that his father left behind. Because you know, Abdullah, when he died, what he left for Prophet Muhammad was 5 camels. Prophet Muhammad inherited from his father 5 camels and 1 as well. That's number 3. Number 4 was Fatima bint Asad. Was also another mother to Rasulullah. These 4 women, they played a big role in the life of Rasulullah. So this woman, when she brought back Rasulullah to his father, and to his mother, Amina, when she saw him, she was filled with joy. After separation from her son, for the first time she met Rasulullah, and she was happy as she was about to fly from the joy that she was going through. Amina alayhi salam, she decided to take Rasulullah to go show to the family. This is my son. Look how much he has grown. Look at how much well he has now turned. Right? On the way between Mecca and Medina, in a small city called Abawa, she too became sick and died and left Rasulullah. Rasulullah did not enjoy the fatherhood or the motherhood altogether. So today, if you think about, oh, I lost my father at early age, look at Rasulullah, he lost both of them at the early age. Now, after the mother died, then his grandfather came in the picture, Abdul Muttalib, to take care of Rasulullah. He took care of Rasulullah for only 2 years. And he also left this dunya. 80 years old, he lost the father, he lost the mother, and lost his grandfather as well. Now, who came in the picture? The one who came in the picture after the grandfather was Abu Talib alayhi salam.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Abu Talib came and took care of the Rasulullah. And not only took care of Rasulullah, he treated Rasulullah more than he treated his own children. He loved Rasulullah more than he loved his own sons. He cared for Rasulullah more than himself. And Abu Talib cared for Rasulullah more than anything else. Now, how much did he care for Rasulullah? Historically, they say Abu Talib at night, when the children are sleeping, Rasulullah is all of them in the room, Abu Talib will pick Rasulullah at the entrance of the door and bring him somewhere and take one of his sons and put it by the door. Why? So that in case somebody want to harm Rasulullah, they end up harming his son, not Rasulullah. That's how much Abu Talib loved Rasulullah. Now, Abu Talib, not only that, he always makes sure that wherever he goes, Rasulullah is with him. So that nobody hurts him or harm him when he's absent. So when he travels, he takes Rasulullah with him. Not only Abu Talib, even Fatima bint Asad was the same. Fatima bint Asad, she always combed the hair of Rasulullah before she combed her own children. That's why the day Fatima bint Asad died, Rasulullah cried and he says, Innaha ummi. She is my mother. إنها كانت تجيء أطفالها وتشبعني. She used to keep her children hungry and make sure that I'm fed. She used to make sure that I am cared for before she cared for her children. The day that Fatima bint Asad passed, Rasulullah slept in her grave to make sure that the grave is comfortable before they put Fatima bint Asad. That's how much Rasulullah cared for this woman, because she took care of Rasulullah. Now, Abu Talib and Fatima bint Asad, they love Rasulullah more than they love their own children. Until one day Rasulullah was traveling with Abu Talib. On their way, they met one Christian monk, one priest. He asked Abu Talib to come and have a lunch with him. Abu Talib went, but he left Rasulullah waiting somewhere. When he went there, then the priest asked him, is that all of you or somebody's left? Abu Talib said, I have my son. He's waiting outside because I just came for a short time and I'll go back. He said, can you invite him too? He invited Rasulullah to come. Rasulullah walked in. This priest, when he looked at Rasulullah, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Then he turned to Abu Talib. Yeah, Abu Talib, is this your real child, your real son? He said, no, this is my brother's son. What is his name? He says, his name is Muhammad. What is his father's name? He says, Abdullah. Is his father alive? He said, no. What about his mother? He says, mother is no longer alive as well. He says, Ya Abu Talib, out of love for you, I urge you to take this child back. Why? He said, I saw what our book told us about the last prophet. What did he see? He said, I saw his features. I saw on his face everything our book talks about him. And I'm afraid if the Christians were to find out who is this young man, they would kill him before you know. Ya Abu Talib, take him home. Abu Talib immediately took Rasulullah back to home to protect Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa
صل
That is Rasulullah. Now Rasulullah lived with Abu Talib until he reached to the adulthood. When he reached to adulthood, Rasulullah, as a child, he was very, very known as he was not like any ordinary child. Rasulullah, as a child, he has so many differences compared to any other children. Rasulullah was unique, polite, respectful, even when he was a child. And when he became adult, his akhlaq was different, more than ever before. One of the akhlaq which was known by Rasulullah, nobody ever heard Rasulullah told lies ever. That's why even the Arabs before Islam, they used to call him Sadiqul Amin. Because they never heard Rasulullah told lies. That's one. Number two, before Islam, when people trusted people with something, money, things, some people would betray. But Rasulullah never betrayed anyone with anything that you trusted him. Rasulullah, not only he was never betrayed, Rasulullah was a man who always is truthful in everything that he does. This Rasulullah, and only also when he worked, he was trustworthy at work. Rasulullah, first, he worked as a shepherd. And at some point, he worked with Khadija alayhi salam. Khadija, there was a time she was looking for somebody to help her with her business, with her trade. But she wanted somebody trustworthy. Somebody she can trust. Then somebody suggested to him, Ya Rasul, Ya Khadija, if you want somebody trustworthy, the best one is Muhammad. She approached Rasulullah. Ya Rasulullah, Ya Muhammad, can you work with me? Okay, sure. What is it? Travel to Sham, buy things, and bring it back. Sure. Then Rasulullah agreed and accepted to travel. Khadija took one of their slaves called Maysara, her name. She said, I want you to go with Muhammad so that you can buy the things and come back. They went to the Sham, Syria, Damascus. Again, another blessing after blessings. When she went there, Maysara said, I saw some things that my eyes cannot believe. What is it? She said, the amount of money that we use every year to buy the items, half of it is what Rasulullah bought the entire items with. Not only that, when we came back, the barakah and blessings that we gained from those items we bought, we never experienced such. Maysara said to Khadija, not only that, I said, I saw Muhammad, the way he dealt with people was the best akhlaq I ever imagined to see anybody to do. That was when Khadija alayhi salam started to think about something positive about Rasulullah. What was it? She said, this Muhammad can be the good candidate for marriage. Now here's something to learn, brothers and sisters. I know in our cultures today, a woman to approach a man and say, oh, I think we can be good candidate, it looks down upon the woman. Today in our culture, if a woman said, oh, I think this guy will be good for me, there's a, oh, she's a bad girl. She's looking bad to the people. But in Islam, in Quran, that's a good thing. She's asking for marriage. That's a good thing. It's not always a man have to approach. If you go back to the Quran, the children of Nabi Allah Shu'aib, when Musa alayhi salam came to Madian and was at the river or at the water, when they saw Musa alayhi salam was a good man, was a kind man, they told their father, Daddy, can you be good to this man? He's a good man. What do you want to be good to him? I said, can you ask him to marry us, one of us? Shu'aib alayhi salam is a prophet. Surely enough, he invited Nabi Allah Musa. When Musa came, he told him the offer. He told him about what he was about to do. Musa alayhi salam accepted, and finally he married his daughter to Musa alayhi salam. Rasulullah also the same thing. Khadija alayhi salam, with her status, with her money, with her value among the Arabs, because Khadija was known as what? Malikatu Arab, the queen of Arab. That's how wealthy she was. But when she saw Rasulullah was the best candidate, she then approached Rasulullah. I would like to get married to you. What do you think? Rasulullah, knowing Khadija and her status, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi accepted. Now, shortly after he accepted to get married, who did the nikah between Rasulullah and Khadija? The one who did the nikah between them is Abu Talib. And now you tell me, those who say Abu Talib died kafir, can a kafir join two peaceful people in marriage? And Allah accept it? And give birth to somebody like Fatima? Can a marriage which was done by a man who was kafir, number one, would Allah accept somebody to marry a woman that is a man who is a kafir, to marry his servant, his ashraful makhluqat? Absolutely not. Abu Talib was mu'minu Quraysh, and he was the one who did the nikah between Rasulullah and Khadija. Now, and not only that, there's another misinformation about Khadija. Where many people say, no, she was married before. She had 4 children. And then she got divorced. And then after that, Rasulullah married her. Absolutely, that is incorrect. Historically, Khadija was never been married. The first marriage is with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Why? Because we believe that the womb that has to carry ma'soom or ma'sooma must be purified womb that no najasa ever can enter in that womb. Because remember in Ziyarat Warid, what do you say? أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها. I testify that you, Imam Hussein, you have been in the purified womb. So every ma'soom must be in the purified womb and cannot be in the womb that has been najasated. So I had for Fatima to be in that type of womb. So our belief is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, he started a marriage Khadija alayhi salam while she was never been married and never had a child before Rasulullah. Now, what about the girls that they call Ruqayya? Some of them, they call Kulthum, Zainab. What are they? The answer is here. The answer is they are adopted children. Khadija alayhi salam, she used to adopt a lot. One of them is Zayd, who was also adopted before Rasulullah, and after Rasulullah married Khadija, then Zayd became very close to Rasulullah, to the point they were calling him Zayd ibn Muhammad. Allah told them, don't call him Zayd ibn Muhammad. Call him Zayd by the son of his father. But these women, what's called Zainab, Kulthum, Ruqayya, they are all adopted. Why? What can we prove that they were not the children of the Prophet? For many reasons from the Quran. Number one, if they were the daughters, biological daughters of Rasulullah, Yawmul Mubahala, why didn't Rasulullah took them and only took Zahra salamullahi alayhi? And the ayah was saying, وَأَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَنِسَاء. Nisa is plural, but you only brought Fatima. If they were biological children of Rasulullah, biological daughters of Rasulullah, Rasulullah would have brought them too. That's number one. Number two, when Allah said, إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرِ. Al-Kawthar is whom? Al-Zahra, and only Zahra. Nobody else is added to mean Kawthar other than Fatima to Zahra. That's number two. Number three, If they were also part of the Rasulullah's children, why after Rasulullah passed away and he gave fadak to Zahra, why didn't they come and fight like Zahra to fight for their inheritance? In history, only Zahra came to fight for inheritance. No girl ever came and said, I am also the daughter of Rasulullah. I deserve the fadak too. The only one who came and stood on the ground in front of the first Khalifa was only Zahra alayhi salam. So that proves that they are not biological children of Rasulullah. Now, not only that, you go back to the history before Rasulullah's death at his final days, the whole history mentioned Fatima was there, Imam Ali was there, Al Hassan was there, Al Hussein was there, but nobody mentioned Ruqayya or Kulthum or Zainab being Rasulullah at that time. Where were they? If they were the daughters of Rasulullah, shouldn't they also be around Rasulullah at the time of the death? Huh? We have the narration that Rasulullah spoke to Zahra, told him how long is left to live and who will be the next after he passed, but nothing about Zainab, Kulthum and the rest. Why? Are you telling me Rasulullah was discriminating among his children? That he loved one and doesn't like the others? Oh no, the others were not his biological children. They rather were what? They were adopted. So in our narrations, Rasulullah only had one daughter. Now, before Zahra alayhi salam, Rasulullah has children with Khadija alayhi salam. Number one is called Qasim. The oldest son that Rasulullah had is called Qasim. Now, Qasim died at early age. Then he had another one called Tahir. Tahir was also another son that the Prophet had. He too also died at early age. Now, then he had Zahra alayhi salam. Now, Rasulullah had another son from another wife in Medina, which is Maria al-Qibtiyya. Maria al-Qibtiyya was Egyptian, who was Christian, Qibtis, and then she accepted Islam. The Prophet married her, and they had a son called Ibrahim. That Ibrahim also was born in Medina and died in Medina as well while he was a child. Now, the only one who survived of all the children of Rasulullah was Fatima alayhi salam. All the sons died at early age. Now, Rasulullah started his mission. Rasulullah, how did he start his mission? The Prophet started his mission from the one he entered in this world. The Prophet, his mission didn't start after 40 years. No, his mission was started openly at the 40 years. Because we believe every prophet that Allah sent, they are prophets from birth to death. What did Allah say about Yahya? Yahya was a prophet when he was a child. وَآتَيْنَاهُ الْحُكْمَ صَبِيًّا. Isa alayhi salam, he said, إِنِّي عَبْدُ اللَّهِ آتَانِيَ الْكِتَابَ وَجَعَلَنِي نَبِيًّا. Rasulullah was a prophet from birth. But Allah did not authorize him to start his mission until at the age of 40. That is when he started. This Rasulullah left so many legacies. And I want us to take some lesson from him, brothers and sisters. Rasulullah is not just a prophet and that's it. He's full of lessons. That today, if the Ummah are to learn from him, we will have the best world we ever dreamed. One of the lessons we can learn from the Prophet. The Prophet has the akhlaq of saying salam to anyone he meets. Nobody ever came and met Rasulullah and was the first one to say salam to Rasulullah. Whenever you meet Rasulullah, whether it's a child or adult, Rasulullah was always the first one to say salam. Now somebody will ask, why salam is important? Why salam is important? I tell you, salam is very important. How important salam is. Because today, some of us, when we say salam, they say, Ya Ali Madad. Huh? Isn't that some people? Say salam alaikum, they say, Ya Ali Madad. Is that how we're supposed to respond?
No.
Let me tell you, brothers and sisters. Saying salam is mustahab. Responding to salam is wajib. That if you then say, today we sit in this hall, if somebody walks in and says salam, right? If one said wa alaykum salam, we all covered. If we all not say wa alaykum salam, all of us are sinners before God. Salam, when somebody say that, even if you are in the middle of salat, our Maraji said you must pause and respond to that salam. That's how important salam is. And Quran tells you, وَإِذَا حُيِّيتُمْ بِتَحِيَّةٍ فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا. When somebody says salam, it says respond better way. Which means somebody says salam alaikum, what's the better way to say? وَعَلَيْكُمُ السَّلَامُ وَرَحْمَةُ اللَّهِ وَبَرَكَاتُهُ. Now, Quran says if you don't have a time to say all of that, it says أَوْرُدُّوهَا. Meaning, somebody say assalamu alaikum, you say assalamu alaikum. That's how you say it. But you can never ignore the salam. Because salam is a dua. Salam is a dua. That the Prophet tells you, the power of dua, the salam is here. The Prophet says, لا تدخلوا الجنة حتى تؤمنوا. So let me guarantee you something. None of you will enter Jannah unless you are believers, you are mu'minun. Good. وَلَا تُؤْمِنُوا. You will not be considered believers حَتَّى تَحَابُوا. Until you love one another. Ya Rasulullah, how can we love one another? I said, أَلَا أُعْلِمُكُمْ. Should I teach you something? If you do it, it creates a love among yourself. They say, Bala. He said, أَفْشُوا السَّلَامَ بَيْنَكُمْ. Say salam among yourself a lot. It creates love, which leads to iman, which leads them to Jannah. That's the power of salam. Now, not only that, it says when you enter your own house, even there's nobody, as you open, say salam. Today, if we go to ziyarah of our imams, what do we say? Assalamu alaikum. That's the most powerful greetings we have. Now, when the Prophet even went to heavens, like the Isra al-Mi'raj, what was the greeting? Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The Prophet's akhlaq is salam. That's one of the lessons. Number two, second lesson from the Prophet. The Prophet was always looking for solution for every problem. Not being part of problem. You know, sometimes when there's a problem, some people, they want to be part of the problem, not the solution. Right? Rasulullah said, no, don't be part of the problem. Right? You be part of what? Solution. Solver of the problem. That's what Rasulullah was. Anytime problem comes to him, he always take the part of solving the problem. Now, one time Rasulullah, before he started his mission, in Mecca, there was a time Kaaba was destroyed. There were 4 tribes among the Arabs which came and built the Kaaba. Now is the time to put the Hajar al-Aswad back. Every tribe wants to take the pride. I will put it. My tribe will put it. They started fighting among themselves. Then one of them said, look, why don't we just sit down and wait? Whoever enters become the solver of our problem. What do you think? He said, sure. They all find a place waiting. Who will come to this door to be the solver of the problem? Look at Allah. Allah made the one entering that door was Habibul Mustafa Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad and Ali Muhammad.
That's what I walk in. When they saw him, said, yes, we cannot find anybody better than this man. He is the Sadiq al-Amin. Please come and solve our problem. The Prophet walked towards them. What's the problem? Ya Muhammad, we build the Kaaba. We have problem with this Hajar al-Aswad. What do you suggest? Prophet said, how many tribes are you? They say 4. They say each tribe choose one representative. They choose one representative, each one of them. He took his Aba, he put it on the ground. He took the Hajar al-Aswad, put it in the middle. And said, okay, the first representative, take the side of the Aba. The other one, you take the other side. This one, take the other side. Take other side. Four of them, they carry it. That's okay. Let's walk towards the Hajar, towards the Kaaba. As they get closer, he picked it and put it into the hole. And he said, "Are we solved the problem?" They say, "Yes, Ya Rasul." That is Rasulullah. In our families, when problem occurs, be like Rasulullah. Look for solution, not to be part of the problem. That is one of the akhlaq of Rasulullah. Number three, Rasulullah, as high as he was the most humble person you can ever find. Humble in every way. Humble in every means you can think of. Rasulullah, he was the most humble person you can think of. How humble Imam Ali? Imam Ali says humble to the point when you walk into the gathering where Rasulullah and his companions are sitting, you cannot tell who is Rasulullah and who's not Rasulullah. You walk in there, you will not believe that he is Muhammad. He said, when you sit with us, it's like one of us. He said, he sit on the floor, and when he sit, يجلس كجلسة العبد. He sit like a slave. That's how humble he is. When he dressed like any one of us. When you walk in there, you cannot tell the way he dressed between him and others. When he eats as humble as he can be. And also not only that, when he talks softly. He never cuts somebody while they're talking. Even if he disagree with you, he waits until you finish. Can you imagine akhlaq of Rasulullah? Today, if somebody talking to you and you disagree with them, will you let them finish their sentence? Absolutely not. In the middle of the sentence, you cut them because you want them to hear you. Rasulullah, as much as he disagree with you, he wait until you finish before he speaks. That is the akhlaq of Rasulullah. That is how humble Rasulullah was. That is part of the life of Rasulullah. Now, coming to Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, who was another copy of Rasulullah, also was born on the same day of Rasulullah's birthday. And don't think that is a coincidence. They both have a beautiful reason. Rasulullah, he is the one who raised the flag of Islam, who was the one who planted the seed of Islam. And Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq was the one who planted the seed of Tashayyu. Where today, the world is known as Shia with the name of what? Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. With all the Imams that we have, we don't hear said Baqiris, right? You don't hear them say Qazimis, but you hear them say Ja'faris, the followers of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, he lived at a time where it's the end of Bani Umayyah and the beginning of Bani Abbas. It was a very crucial time. That Bani Umayyah, they were struggling to keep their power. Bani Abbas, they are also fighting to keep the power, to grab the power from Bani Umayyah. So there was a power struggle between these two powers. And Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq was left alone. And he took the advantage of that time to do what? To establish an institution for education. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq in Medina, he took that opportunity. At the time where they wouldn't allow Imam Bakr, Imam Zayn al-Abidin to establish and teach and educate people, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq found that opportunity. And that's exactly what he did. At the time, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq gathered in one class more than 4,000 students, which unheard even till today as we speak. And all those students come from many different places of the world. Those students, they were not just a student. Some of them were up to today as we speak, they are still known as the higher figures in different school of thought. All of them were students of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. And Imam Jafar al-Sadiq was teaching, educating in every field you can think of. In mathematics, in biology, in chemistry, in fiqh, in history, in Quran, in every field you want, everybody come to learn from Imam Jafar al-Sadiq. To the point where Imam Jafar al-Sadiq has able to give the world the most higher figures or higher people that today the world is proud of. Some of them till today, they are not longer among us, but the name rising here. One of them, Imam Malik. Imam Malik was one of the Sunni school of thought. Was one of the students of Imam Jafar. He learned under Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, and he said that Imam Jafar al-Sadiq is the most pious person I ever seen on the earth. He said that anytime I feel sorrow, I feel down, he said I go to just look at the face of Imam Jafar al-Sadiq and all my sorrow disappears. That is Imam Malik talking about Imam Jafar al-Sadiq. Not only that, Abu Hanifa, which is one of the great scholars too. He was student of Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, and he said beautifully, he said, if not because of these 2 years I studied under Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, he said, I would have perished. Abu Hanifa was a student of Imam Jafar al-Sadiq. That is how Imam Jafar al-Sadiq educated. And Imam Jafar al-Sadiq went through so much with the Khulafa. Imam Jafar al-Sadiq went through almost 5 Khulafa of Bani Umayyah and 3 Bani al-Abbas. One of the worst was Mansur, who was at the time of Imam Jafar al-Sadiq. And he went through so much with Imam. And Imam had a very difficult time with him. But one thing we learn from Imam Jafar al-Sadiq is never to be scared of any tyrant. And the best jihad, as Rasulullah said, the best jihad is what? Not to take the gun and fight your enemy. The best jihad is to stand in front of tyrants and tell them the truth which they don't want to hear. أفضل الجهاد كلمة حق عند سلطان جائر. Mansur, one time he brought Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq to his house against his will. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq doesn't like coming to his house. But by force, he brought Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. When Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq came, then he asked Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, Ya Ja'far, lima la ta'tina kama ya'tina ghayruk? Why don't you like to come here, sit with me? Like many people want to come to sit with me. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq said to him, Laysa indaka ma narju. What we hope or we like, you don't have it. And what you have, we don't have any desire in it. What does it mean? What I have, you don't have. What you have, I have no desire with it. Which means Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq want to tell him, I want Allah, I want taqwa, I want piety. You don't have it. What you want is what? It's alcohol, it's gambling, it's haram. I have no desire in it. That's Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq telling him in front of his face. He became so angry. One time, he was sitting with Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. A fly came on his nose. He tried to kill it. The fly flew away. It came on his head. He tried to kill it. It flew away. He became angry. He looked at Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. Ya Ja'far, lima khalaqa Allahu dhibaba. Why did Allah create this fly? Imam looked at him. He said, do you really want to know? Yes. He said, لِيُذِلَّ بِهِ الْجَبَّارِينَ. Allah created it so that He can use it to humiliate the tyrant like you. That's Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. During his time, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq has given us more than treasure that we can think of. Between the Prophet and Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, today we have so much treasures that we can be proud of. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq that those treasures that Rasulullah left and Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, may Allah help us not only to learn them, also to practice them in our day-to-day life. Ya Rabbal Alamin. Ya Allah, we ask you, those treasures that they left behind, Ya Allah, help us to protect them, Ya Rabbal Alameen, and abide by them, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, day in and day out, help us to come closer to Rasulullah and to Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Ya Allah, as we live, give us the tawfiq to visit the shrine of Rasulullah and to also the shrine of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. بالنبي وآل محمد صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على
محمد وآل محمد.